Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be building a little mini winter Warhammer diorama. So after finding the perfect specimens for today's diorama, it's time to cut, sand, glue, and spray. So what's the story in Orruks? Well, wouldn't you like to know? And of course you will find out, but first let's start cutting up some foam so we can make the base for our little adventurous friends. For this, we'll be using a nice little slope using a hot wire cutter to carve all of that foam up. And look at that, it's already time to start painting our first orc, Gordak Rump Smasher. Yeah, I don't know about that name, but Gordak is the Warden's right-hand man, a hunter sent on a mission to find and capture the assassin called Urdak Five Fingers, a cunning yet ruthless hobgrot. So a nice little disguise blessing was when I was painting Gordak, I didn't have to paint his feet or the base because tactically we're making a snow diorama, which means those areas will be covered up by snow, saving some much needed time. And it was about this time I realised I should have really painted the skin before painting the armour, but hey ho, it's always good to learn. Just like Gordak should have learned not to get sold to the Warden years before this event. Now, I think it's time to delve into a bit of Gordak's backstory. While his kin revelled in chaos and destruction, Gordak possessed an unusual sense of discipline and order. His childhood was marked by his fascination with law and justice. However, one fateful day, Gordak confronted his tribal chieftain, demanding that they establish a code of laws and a system of justice. This left him exiled and barely alive, but only to be found by an outlawed human camp that captured him later on. Once realising the oddities of Gordak, they forced him to become a fearsome hunter, to track down the outlaws and anyone nefarious. They even actually gave him his own little grot that he raised from birth as a little justice sidekick called Robkin. Now painting this model was quite a lot of fun, doing the stippled leather effects to make him look nice and worn in. Overall, it was actually a pretty good model. Okay, so now it's time to use my favourite paint ever, Dirty Downs Rust. This paint is literally a liquid rust. Well, not literally, but just look how amazing those colours look. So all that's left to do with this orruk is to add some contrast to the skin, and then I think he is done. And as always, it's clay time! I don't know why this is my favourite part of making a diorama, but the clay just feels so good on the hands and it's so fun to mess around with. Honestly, if you haven't used clay, give it a try. And with this, we're making a nice rock slope to make the ground look a little bit more nice and natural. We also need trees, because trees are cool! So I primed up some tree roots and then painted them to look like, guess what? Trees. So I made some holes for the trees to go into, which means it's time to get some hot glue and slap these bad boys down. And get ready for Robkin! Robkin ain't no normal grot, he is a grot sidekick with a vengeance for justice, who sometimes takes it a bit too far. After being raised by Gordak, Robkin soon learnt the law and what he thought was right and wrong. Now I painted him pretty much in the same way as Gordak, with brown leathers, rusted metals and some black accessories, and overall I quite like the paint scheme. Okay, so we're on to the final miniature of the day, Urdak Five Fingers. Given that name because, well, yeah, he's got that name because, you know, well, I hope you can guess why. And a really weird segue, if you haven't read the first lore series by Joe Abercrombie, I highly recommend it. This character is very loosely based on a character from there, except he's got 5 fingers instead of 9. Yeah, 10 out of 10 book, highly recommend it. So on the run, Ordruk finds himself trapped in a cheeky 2v1 situation. As swords and chains clash, there could only be one outcome. and that's for another time. But I painted this fella a little bit differently. I replaced what was rusty with dirt, as an assassin on the run wouldn't let his equipment get all rusty. To finish Orruk off, I gave him an enamel wash, which I then removed with some mineral spirits. With all the minis out of the way, let's finish this diorama. I painted the rocks and glued the models in place and painstakingly started to put all the snow down, trying my best not to get it over the models. And if you want to help me make more content like this, feel free to become a patron in the link down below, or become a channel member by clicking the join button. And if you can support with money, tell a friend, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe. It all really helps out. Thank you so much. Then with a helpful sprinkle, I call this bad boy done. As always, I've been Reese. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a cheeky comment and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.